At first glance, all of these shotgun slugs appear to be the same, but there are a lot of differences between them. I'm going to take this last shell, shoot it into gelatin. Now they're all 20 gauge and they're all sabot style. So they all have a bullet that is smaller in diameter than the actual 20 gauge size. So this black area in here is actually the sabot, and that's meant to have better ballistic coefficient, better accuracy downrange, better on-game performance. If you go back and think of the development of slugs, they used to be Foster style slugs, or basically a lead projectile that was rifled because your barrel was actually smoothbore. Now the new slug guns out, the barrels are rifled just like your center fire barrels are, and now they use higher performing slugs. But there's a lot of difference between each one of these slugs in velocity, bullet construction, and overall grain weight. So the lightest in the group right here is the Hornady, which uses a 275 grain SST. Now I went with the light version here called the Custom Light because this is going about 1,600 feet a second, and it is the lowest in recoil and shoots really well out of this gun. That's one of my favorites that I shoot personally when I deer hunt. But the accutip by Remington is a fan favorite. If you talk to the dealers today, this is one of their top selling sabot slugs in the 20 gauge configuration. The Browning over here is your heaviest, is 328 grains or 3/4 of an ounce. Now Winchester loads these for Browning, so they're very compatible to the Winchesters. And of course, Federal is a mainstay in the marketplace as well. It really comes down to what shoots most accurately in your barrel. So we're going to start at 100 yards. We're going to see which one out of this specific gun shoots the most accurate. Every gun, every barrel is different. And then whoever the winner is there, we're going to shoot a group at 200 and then shoot that slug in gelatin and show you the overall performance. All right, first up, we're going to shoot the Hornady Custom Lights. Now they do make this same slug that runs faster. I just happen to like the recoil of this. It's going 1,600 feet per second. Your normal sabot slug is running around the 1,800 feet per second, so definitely a little bit slower moving. I find a little bit more accurate. Shoots a 275 grain SST, and I shoot the same bullet actually out of my muzzle loader, so I know how it performs on game. It's just put in a larger sabot for the 20 gauge. If you're sighted in at 150, it's about 4 inches high at 100, and it's about 10 inches low at 200. So you do have 200 yard capability, but you got to understand how to compensate for the drop because it's only running about 1,600 feet per second. So let's see how it groups out of the Encore. All right, there we go. We got dead on right there. Now let's see if the next two impact the same. Okay, a little bit lower. Last two shots almost touching. First one a little high. That could have been me. I mean, I know this gun prints 1.5 inches. So accuracy wise, fantastic. Light, manageable, and obviously very consistent on the chronograph. So if we look at this, 1550 is the min, 1601 max, 1575 is your average, 1572 last shot. Doesn't get much better than that. Overall deviation only 50 feet per second, but the last two shots were within 3 feet per second of the average. So I give Hornady high marks for the Custom Light, mainly because it's manageable and I've killed a lot of game with the SST bullet. So moving on, we're going to go to one of the top rounds that the retailers tell me they sell, which is Remington accutip. We'll see how well that performs on paper compared to the Hornady. So this is 260 grains, 10 grains heavier than the Hornady. So this is a 250, and it's going 1,850 feet per second. So it's not a light version, standard velocity, and definitely one of the favorites in the marketplace. I expect a little bit more recoil, but I expect pretty good accuracy and performance. All right, point of impact, actually fairly close. Definitely more recoil on that. Encore's a light gun, doesn't weigh very much, 6.5 pounds. But again, you're not shooting trap with it. So, super manageable. All right, about 1.25 inches apart, up and down like this, which could be just me pulling the gun in. So hopefully this will split the difference. All right, cut the hole on the last one. So slight edge on accuracy, and again, every gun, every barrel, you know, the harmonics are different. Things, you know, have to be tested between all the rounds, but I would give the Remington here slight edge on accuracy. The last two shots actually touched on that one. So we'll give the Remington a good mark, and now we'll jump over to the Federal. So these are the Federal Trophy Coppers, 275 grains, so a little bit heavier bullet, but running 1700 feet per second. So velocity is in between the Hornady and the Remington, and just a slightly different bullet weight on this, slightly heavier. So we'll see how that performs. Federal Trophy Coppers. I personally have never shot this round before, so Federal's a mainstay in the ammunition business. Let's see how she does with a slug. All right, a little bit more recoil, but not bad compared to the Hornady Light. A little bit less than the Remington. Point of impact a little bit lower, but I have a heavier bullet, so not surprising. Ooh, impressive, very impressive. I better not screw this shot up. Could be one of the best groups I've shot with a slug gun in a long time. All right. That's a wow group. That is a wow group. It doesn't happen very often with a slug where all your shots are touching. As I mentioned, the recoil is a little bit more manageable than the Remington, and you know, all guns are different, especially with slug guns, but I will tell you, I haven't shot a group that well with a slug gun in a while. So Federal Trophy Coppers. So this is the league contender. Now, not by a lot. Certainly, you're not going to miss a deer with any of them, but not often can you cleverly for group at 100 yards. So we'll go peel that target down, put one more up, and the next will be our Brownings. So the Browning are loaded by Winchester, so very similar. Of course, Winchester is a mainstay in the ammunition business. Browning has their own custom blend here. So this is a solid copper bullet, 3/4 of an ounce, which is about 328 grains. So this is the heaviest of the projectiles, and our velocity is, I think, 1600 feet per second, which again, heavier projectile, a little bit slower. So I imagine the recoil will be more in line with the Remington, but the most telling will be how is the accuracy. All right, a couple inches low, point of impact from where the Remingtons were. Left to right, about the same. Recoil is what I said, a little bit snappier, but in line with the Remingtons. All right, not bad. Solid copper bullet, a little bit different in construction than the others. All right, again, decent group, you know, 2.5 inches at 100 yards, that's not bad. So none of these slugs perform poorly. They all really shot well. 100 yards can kill a deer all day long, but which ones can you take to 200 yards? To me, that really comes down to accuracy. The clear winner in all of these was the Federal, and then the Remington and the Hornadys were right on those heels, followed by the Browning here at the end. But again, all the groups are really good. So we're gonna go and take the Federal, shoot these at 200 yards, and then run the bullet through ballistics gelatin to complete the test. So I'm guessing probably 8 or 9 inches of drop. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna aim at the top of the target and try to drop it into the bullseye, because that should be right around that mark. So I should hit the bullseye or slightly lower. So that's gonna be my aiming point. So I'll run my reticle right up the center, crosshair right across the top of the paper. All right, 200 yards. Okay, about where I expected. The wind got me a little bit. I'm a little bit to the left, maybe an inch, and I'm about 3 inches, 2-3 inches lower than the bullseye coming off the top of the paper. 275 grain slug. Okay, so that one, pretty good group. It came back to the right, probably for the wind, maybe an inch or so high, so 2-inch group. And again, remember, these clover leafed at 100, so I'm hoping that I can stay within 2 inches. Let's see what she does here. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Well, we shot a fantastic group at 100. We shot an incredible group at 200. And basically all it did was just open up like this. I mean, the group's 2 inches, I would say. But again, we're at 200 yards right now. So the Federal carried it out, their accuracy, from 100 yards to 200 yards. 275 grain bullet. Now, this is supposed to be running at 1,700 feet per second. Chronograph says 1721. The average though, so look at the average right there at the bottom, 1709 for all the shots that we've taken here. So I would say consistency on the Federal is pretty spectacular when your average can be within 9 feet per second of what the box advertises. So there's only one test left. I'm going to take this last shell and shoot it into gelatin. Flip the block upside down and it looks like it made it into the second block. Incredible penetration here. So there's our point of impact right there, just a little bit above center line. As you can see here, it dropped all of its energy within the first 8 inches, half your block there. And then it continued to pass all the way through here and ended up. So great energy transfer. Now let's see how the bullet looks here. Wow, look at that. Is that pretty? Wow, that does not get any more spectacular than that. That is absolutely ideal. So if you look in here, so at the end of your wound channel, you actually have the tip. So they had like a little lead tip in there that helped open up the petals. But in unbelievable performance, 8 inches, all your energy dropped, as you see just a slight line after that, which basically gave the bullet a chance to pass through the animal. And then this is your result. Perfectly flowered projectile. I would say that's 100% weight retention. So there's your Federal Trophy Copper, 275 grains. Again, great performance by all the slugs. I would definitely run any one of them for deer hunting. But I think as far as accuracy, penetration, 200 yards performance, the clear winner in the Encore this year was the Federal.